Welcome to Let's Talk Autism. I'm Nancy Alspaugh-Jackson.
And I'm Shannon Penrod, and I just want to point out that we did not talk about colors.
We didn't do color coordinated. This is not something we discussed.
This was Vulcan mind meld that we have sometimes.
Yes, we do that sometimes.
I even now have purchased some articles of clothing that are animal print because you have so many things that are, and that like I'm drawn to them now, and then I wear them, and it just happens to be on the day that you have animal print.
So weird.
And sometimes we have that Vulcan mind meld with Dr. Grant Boucher too, and it's like, ooh, we were all thinking along the same lines.
Dressed the same.
So, and I think a lot of us are in that holiday sort of mode.
Yeah, kind of in the pre-holiday.
Yeah, so I find myself wearing a lot of blue and silver, or a lot of red and green, or red and black.
I don't have much red. This is one of the few red tops I have.
Over the years here at Autism Live, I have bought more red things because, there's Valentine's Day and there's, Christmas and so on and so forth. So I have more red and since I, went platinum, as it were, I find myself wearing more red because it's a fun, it's a fun color. Whereas I don't think red, I have a very red, ruddy face. And I don't think red before, when I had dark hair, red was not the color for me. No.
Okay.
Not
I think you're imagining that, but whatever.
Nice of you to say that. Hey, we've got a big show for you.
Yeah, we've got toys to talk about first.
Yeah, because
so we'll do that.
It's Festival of the Toys, and you guys know if you watch the show that over the last 6 years, can you believe it's been 6 years?
No.
Every year we do something during the holiday season, the Festival of Toys, and each year it's gotten bigger. We review the toys. This year we have a holiday toy guide that we put together. We review toys for months.
Fantastic.
It really is. And you can access it by going to our home website. You go to autism-live.com. There you'll see the blog up in the upper left-hand corner. You click on the blog. It'll show you the blog that talks a little bit about the toys. And in the bottom of the blog is a place to click to get to the toy guide. And you can download it. You can take it to the store with you. We cover 5 different age ranges. So there's babies and toddlers, right? Then it moves on to preschool kids, then school-aged kids, then teens and tweens, and then adults. And these are toys that in those age ranges, there's a wide variety of things that are good for a wide variety of people. So you would look, if you have, there's the short link. Look at how fabulous is Samantha. So you could go directly to the guide right there. So thank you, Samantha. And so within each age range, there is a toy that we call an oldie but a goodie, because sometimes you forget oldie but goodie toys. And the ones that we're going to show you today are both oldie but goodies. And then we have our top new toy of the year in that category. We have our top toy recommended by therapists. We have our top toy recommended by parents. We have our top sensory toy, the top toy of the year in that category from our opinion. And then we have the top board game and the top book.
That's amazing that you put all that together.
Let me tell you, it was an uphill climb. There was a lot of work to do, and I was, I didn't think we were going to get it done, but we did.
That's great.
And I'm passionate about the toys, you guys. So the toy that I've got sitting directly in front of me, this happens to have been the oldie but goodie in the category for preschool kids. So this we're talking 3 years and up, 3 to 5, and for our kids on the autism spectrum. Now, you might have a child that's older who would enjoy playing with this too.
In that range,
so just know that, but it wouldn't be for kids younger than 3. And in fact, this is rated 3+. This is from Batat. Although there are a couple of different toy makers for this toy, and it's a take-apart airplane. Now, when Jem was little, he had one of these, and he had the truck as well. And here's what I love about some of our kids are very interested in mechanical things and engineering and that kind of thing. Jem, I don't know why it was this way, but Jem, if there was a flashlight within 3 miles of him, he would find it and have it taken apart in under 3 minutes.
No, Wyatt was not like that, and Wyatt rarely played with toys like this.
Okay. Well, and it might have been fun to have put this in his hands and teach him how to do it to see, if it was a thing.
Right.
Like we had to teach Jem how to play with Legos, but before he had Legos, he had one of these.
Right.
And my mom got this and I thought, oh, what is this? But it's a toy, and you can put it together with all the screws and play with it like a toy, right? But then you have the drill and it has these different drill bits on it that they can put on the drill. And I'm not going to turn the drill on because it's really loud in the studio.
So what does the drill bit do?
You can put it one way or the other, and you put it in and it tightens.
Okay.
Or it releases the screw. So you can take this entire thing apart. I just put it together while you were watching. I don't even know if you noticed.
No, I didn't.
But so I put the whole thing together while I was talking to Nancy. So each screw, each bolt comes out, and the pieces all come off, and they can take it all apart. And for some of our kids, that is deeply, deeply satisfying to them. And there are different ways you can put it together, but there's only one way that it goes together with all the pieces. And keep in mind that each one of these little, and of course I'm using it without the drill, because again, the drill is loud. Look at all these pieces come off, right?
Right.
And even the little propeller goes on and comes off.
So kids that really like putting things together and taking things
them
apart.
And it makes this lovely, it's a loud noise but in the studio, but it's not loud in a house. But it, and you can do reverse. So you do it one way and it tightens it, and the other way and it takes it apart. And each one of these drill bits can be used with each one of the screws.
Right.
It works for all three of them, so they're not going to get it wrong. But there are some ways, some places in it where a different drill bit is easier than one of the others. So it reinforces when they use that one, but it's not impossible to do the other. Fabulous, fabulous toy, because if you think about it, this is using a lot of different skills. First of all, it's fine motor, finger skills, which are going to help with handwriting. It is logical. It's those engineering building skills that are really good for all of our kids. And then it's a toy that they can play with, and it can be creative, make-believe, symbolic toy.
Right, and they can do stories and fun things after it's put together.
And honestly, can I tell you that if you go on my YouTube channel from way back before there was an Autism Live, there are videos of Jem that he shot with my camera with this airplane because he did a little, he reenacted a part of Indiana Jones. As he called it, Hindiana Jones. It was always Hindiana Jones this and Hindiana Jones that. So he did a whole thing with him with the snake and the plane. And he did it with a little Lego figure and made a background and everything, and it's on my YouTube channel. So he played with this for years. We got so much mileage out of this. If you have kids that are at all taking things apart, don't have them take apart your flashlights. Get one of these toys, and it's really fabulous. And it looks like a lot of pieces, but it's really not, and easy to keep. We still have the one. This is not the one, but we still have the one because I can't bear to part with it. Because he had that much fun with it. Highly recommend that. Now you've got a toy in front of you, Nancy, that is...
It's a classic.
It is a classic. It actually won the Oldie but Goodie gift award, because once they get to adults, we're not calling them toys anymore. We're calling them gifts. And it won for adults. The Oldie but Goodie. And
it's pin art.
Yeah, it's a classic pin art. And this is coming to us from Toy Smith. And we wanted to thank Toy Smith for sending these to us. And there are hours of fun that can be had with pin art. Boy, if you don't believe it, put one in a room full of adults, on the spectrum or not on the spectrum, and they will have a good time.
It's hard not to play with it, right?
It is.
When you have it in front of you.
Now, they come in different colors and styles. This is one of the old-fashioned metal ones, but some people prefer, they have the plastic ones. They're not as heavy, and they come in different colors. Like you can get neon green and blue and red and all those things. So if you've got somebody who really has a favorite color, you can do that. But I love, there's a noise that comes with it. That's, when you stick the pins, when you go back to zero, the pins make a wonderful noise. And then it's fun to watch how logically people play with it. Like I would never think to do what you're doing, sticking on its side and poking through.
Really?
But it's, but did you see what I was doing with it before?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so let me borrow for a second. So my favorite thing to do with these is you take it and I love that noise, right?
Okay.
And then I put my hand here and turn it back over, and it makes the sculpture of my hand.
Yeah.
I've had friends do this on their face. I have a bunch of makeup on and I don't want to do that. But and they feel cold. The little pins feel cold. There's something sensory about that, and the little noises that it makes. And then you can move your hand around and make different gestures with it. I liked, because I did it with my ring.
Right.
And my ring showed up even.
Yeah.
Which makes me happy. I don't know why that is, but people love these. You can take and play with it. People love these. They're not terribly expensive. So when you're looking for something, it's so hard, right? When you've got adults that are on the spectrum. But the truth of the matter is, you guys, you could give this to a teenager. I wouldn't give it to a little kid. If I was going to do a little kid, I would do the plastic ones.
Right.
But the plastic ones are really fun too. They're just not as heavy. And for some people, that's more appropriate. I also wanted to take a second to say, too, you know, it got cold here the last couple of days. And one of the things that I've slept so good the last couple of days. And I know why. Because we loaded up my side of the bed with a bunch of blankets. I get really cold when I lay down. And the thing that I've discovered in the last 2 years is that I need a weighted blanket.
You do?
I need a weighted blanket. Now, I promised
Wyatt
your
has
son.
one.
He does have one?
He has one now,
Okay,
yes.
because I promised him one, and I still haven't gotten it for him.
He's got a weighted blanket, and he sleeps with it every night.
And does he love it?
He loves it.
Well, a weighted blanket is one of the things that we also listed as a top gift in the adult division.
Yeah.
There is something about it for me, and I'm somebody who has sensory issues. Do you have sensory issues?
Yes, I do.
Do you? And have you tried it? Have you sat under his blanket?
I go in his room sometimes and grab it and go under it.
And there are different weights, you guys. We, in the toy guide, you'll see that we recommended a very specific weighted blanket seller, but there are many that are out there, and they make them customized. Some of them are minky.
If you go to our website, we have a maker of weighted blankets and toys that gives us a discount for grants for Act Today.
Oh, what a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
What a fabulous thing. So
Harkla. They're named Harkla.
Harkla. Okay, and we recommended Mosaic in the guide, but they're all wonderful. You just, you know, read the reviews and make sure that they're reputable.
Harkla has the weighted blankets, the swing sets.
How lovely.
They have all kinds of adaptive toys that can help.
And that's a great gift that somebody will use. And the nice thing about the weighted blankets is that they're not necessarily like, you can get ones that have the Sherpa on the one side and the mink on the other side. Not mink, but you know, minky. They call it minky fabric. But they don't have to, like, I'm waiting until it's cold to put the heavy blanket on because I'm putting quilts on. But with a weighted blanket, you don't have to do that. And it is pressure, and there is something about it that's so comforting. I didn't realize how much I'd missed that until it got cold the last couple of nights. And man, I just have slept like a dead woman.
Really good.
Oh, and I needed it really badly. So anyway, these are just some of the gifts, and we're going to be featuring more every single day that we're live until the bitter end.
Okay.
Of the month, from here to the end of 2017. But check out the guide to see if there's something there that sings to you guys for somebody in your life, whether it's a kid or adult.
You went to a lot of work to do this, Shannon.
And can I say, we love the toys that we picked, and I think we're going to make this a yearly thing with the toy guide because it's really wonderful.
There's toys. We're surrounded by toys in here.
I told them earlier this morning, if you could see, there's toys all over the floor in here. So, but anyway, these are two that are great for different ends of the age range, right? But really fabulous. We're going to take a break, and then we're going to come back and do In the News, so stick with us.
Hello, fellow activists. Last week, we talked about step number 1, accept and embrace this challenge. Now we're moving on to step number 2, educate yourself. After my son Wyatt was diagnosed, I put up a sign over my home office that said Autism Central. I went to school in my home office every night after my husband and Wyatt had gone to bed because I was determined to learn everything there was about autism. That's because knowledge is power. Visit all the autism websites you can, read all the books you can, learn about all the organizations that are out there that offer free guides to help you. Some of them even offer mentors to help guide you. Find out about local support services. Find out about what educational services your child is entitled to. Get to every autism conference and seminar you can. I'll never forget the first autism conference that I went to. The first speaker was a beautiful, brilliant woman named Dr. Doreen Graham-Pichet. She spoke about a therapy called Applied Behavioral Analysis, or ABA. She told about how it could improve the life of children with autism, and in some cases, recover them. Now, despite the fact that Wyatt had been diagnosed for over a year, nobody had told me about this therapy. I remember calling my husband on the cell phone and saying, honey, I met the woman who is going to help improve Wyatt's life. And I'm happy to say that 8 years later, that's true. Are you feeling a little overwhelmed by all the information that's out there? Well, you're not alone. But try different approaches for your child. Trust your gut. Just 40 short years ago, mothers were told if their child had autism that they would have to be institutionalized, and in some cases they were actually blamed for their child's autism for failing to bond with the child. That was called refrigerator mother syndrome. Well, thank goodness times have changed. So until next time, learn everything you can about autism and keep the faith.
And we're back. I'm going to have a hard time keeping my hands off the string.
Well, I know. I took the other one off the table because...
I'm going to have to put it away.
That's the hallmark of a great toy.
That you can't stop playing with it.
Yeah, you can't stop playing with it. And that there are all these different things that you want to do with it, and that you keep finding different things to do it. That's why it's an oldie but a goodie.
Okay.
So there you have it. So we got some news stories for you. Do. Starting with, and I think this goes hand in hand with everything we've been talking about, that there's a study about a video game that showed that it could improve the balance of kids that were on the autism spectrum.
It rewards participants for holding these ninja poses.
Yeah. And if you think about it, both of our kids have had Wii Fits with the balance board, right?
I need to get a new balance board for mine because I don't have the balance board.
And I gotta say, one of the reasons why my son we had a gaming system in our house, but we went and got a Wii because of the Wii balancing board. And because I had read a study about mirror neurons.
Right.
That there are these neurons in everybody's brain that most people that are neurotypical, which I don't know what that means anymore, but if you're neurotypical and they have you hooked up to electrodes and you're watching, say, the Olympics.
Right.
And you're watching somebody do that, the ski jump thing.
Right.
And you've never ski jumped in your life, doesn't matter. You're sitting and watching the ski jump, and when they take off, there's a part of your brain where the mirror neurons that would have lit up if you were actually doing it, light up.
Okay.
So, and that's why they call them the mirror neurons, because it mirrors what you're doing. Well, oddly enough, kids that are on the autism spectrum, those mirror neurons don't light up when they're watching something, right? But they have discovered over and over and over again with video games that if there's an avatar, that if the kid is actually doing it. And the avatar is mirroring it, that it lights up the mirror neurons.
Okay.
How much do we love that?
So Wyatt plays Wii constantly. So
it's good for him.
Okay, good.
It's good for him, especially when it's a physical thing when he's doing what his avatar is doing.
Right, he is doing that.
And on top of that, if you want to pile another study on, if it's something where he's having to cross the midline, like to do table tennis or something, that's good cognitively too.
Okay.
Now, this video game study, they created a video game that was ninja poses, but for some of them, they could work up to holding a pose on one foot for 30 minutes.
It's amazing.
That's a really long period of time. And what they found was across the board, the kids had an improvement in their balance. And we're saying this is something that, this is a tool that we can be using. Right. One of the things that I thought was really significant, though, was that they said that kids who have a lot of repetition that they perseverate on, that it wasn't as effective with them.
Right.
But I think, on the one hand, that might be then don't bother to do that. Whereas I looked at that and thought maybe they just need more.
Right.
Maybe part of the thing is that it takes longer for their mirror neurons
to... Maybe.
And the fact that they loved it.
Yeah. If they had ritualistic behaviors like the need to follow a set routine around mealtimes or bedtimes did not benefit as much.
Right. But I would like to see that study drawn out longer to see if it just took more opportunities to follow.
Right.
I have to tell you, one of the things that we put in the toy guide, which I know I'm going to get some flack about for adults, we put the Oculus Rift in the toy guide as the top new toy.
Okay.
Now, for those of you who don't know what that is, it's a virtual reality game that is put out by Facebook.
Right.
And my son has been talking to me about this and another virtual reality thing for 2 years.
Okay.
About how it's coming and they're demoing it. And I took him to have it demoed a year ago. I took my husband. We went to the Ronald Reagan Museum when they had their interactive.
Right.
And they had one there. You had to pay for it. I watched my husband play it. And I didn't do it. I said, it's going to make me sick. It's going to make me car sick, whatever. But my husband said that was really cool. And he had to do a thing. He was in a simulator where he had to be a cook. A line cook.
Okay.
And it would tell him fry an egg. So he'd start frying the egg over here. And
where do you see this happening?
Well, he has a pair of goggles on and he's in the world.
In the world.
He's seeing it all. We are standing there watching him in this room, empty room, doing it. It looks weird.
Yeah.
But we can look over at the monitor and see what he's seeing, right?
Okay.
But he was, cooking and whatever, and he left something to burn, and it burned. And he was like, oh no. I videotaped the whole thing. He looks like a crazy person because he's got goggles on, but you can tell he's like, he's picking things up, and he had to have a mitt to pick it up. And I said, it'll make me car sick. Well, this summer, while Jem and I were out on the road, I tried both of the VR things and became a believer.
Did you get them? Did you purchase them?
Well, we did buy, Jem had money that he had to spend that he'd been saving for lots of different things. So he bought the Oculus Rift for himself, but he didn't have a computer to play it on.
Where do you get the Oculus Rift?
You can buy it at most, like he bought it at, on Amazon, but you can buy it at Best Buy. I think they sell it at Walmart, all these places. And it's not cheap.
Right.
It's like $375. And then you have to have a really mega computer to do it on. So he's had it and not been able to play it because he didn't have a computer. He might be getting a computer. But I have to tell everybody that I put it specifically in the guide because I think it's the future.
Okay.
I think it's a way of...
It's virtual reality.
It's a way of teaching our kids. The one that changed it all for me, I was in this simulator, and to me, I was in that world, and I was not even a little car sick, and I get car sick just sitting here. Okay? I get car sick on a stationary bicycle. Mm-hmm. I can't ride a merry-go-round. I have to take pills to ride the tram at Disneyland, right? To go to the rides. So I didn't get car sick at all. And there was a robot who was speaking to me non-verbally, and he was pointing to things. And so I would have to pick up this thing, and then he would go over and he would point. And then I would stick it into the thing, and this thing would happen. And then he would point, and I would have to figure out what he wanted next.
Wow.
And I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be big for our kids. It's going to be big for our kids. And there's a lot of nonsensical games that they have, but I'm telling you guys, this is the future. So anyway, video games. I know people will tell you, don't let your kids just play video games. And I agree with that. And Temple says that all the time. They're playing video games too long. But if you pick and choose which video games, and I say getting the Wii Fit is a good thing.
We got to get the board.
There you go. That's going to be a fabulous thing. Okay, our next story here comes to us from Australia, and this is a very disappointing thing. There is a gentleman named Don Burke who is the host of Burkes Backyard, and his name is Don Burke, but I hate saying that, and I'm not going to say it too many more times because I don't want him to get any more attention than is necessary. He has been accused of sexual misconduct, and his response on Monday night when he was being interviewed by A Current Affair, his response was to say that the reason why he perpetrated these heinous acts was that he had Asperger's.
He said he's an Asperger's person who has difficulty looking people in the eye and reading body language.
And he then... upon being asked to clarify, admitted that he does not have an official diagnosis, that he figured it out for himself, and that he is self-diagnosed, and that this is why he harassed, because when he was harassing, he didn't notice that the other person was uncomfortable because he's incapable of noticing it. Well, the autism community has spoken swiftly and loudly, and I want to add my voice to it to say, no, foul. Foul in so many different ways of what that word means, foul. This is not something that you can dismiss with saying that you have Asperger's. And, if you feel that you have Asperger's, that is one thing. And if you feel that you don't want to go get a diagnosis, well, that is your business. But if you are perpetrating a crime, you do not get to wave that flag and go, oh, that's why. First of all, that is not a symptom of Asperger's. Second of all, you have done damage to the autism community by associating yourself with them. And third, it just incenses me because, in fact, if you look at statistics, people who are on the autism spectrum are far and away more likely to be the victims of this kind of behavior, not the perpetrators.
Right.
So, Don, bye-bye. And we don't want to hear from you, and don't bother associating yourself with our tribe. You are not one of our tribe.
Right.
Bye-bye.
Trying to deflect the criticism by using that excuse is no excuse.
Unbelievably shady. Okay, now in Slate Magazine, they had a wonderful article that just came out today titled, "Should We Screen All 2-Year-Olds for Autism?" Did I just hear the entire world go, yes? Yes. Yes, we absolutely should, and all the different reasons why.
Right.
It's in Slate
Magazine. Featured a story about a mom who kept trying to get a diagnosis even after the pediatrician said there was nothing wrong, which is what happened in my case.
And when we see what happens in these cases, there are a whole lot of people who slip through the cracks. And now a lot of times it's people that are in underserved populations.
Yes, and that's what a lot of this article is about.
Yes.
That the Hispanic community receives a later diagnosis.
And so does the African American community.
They both just receive later diagnoses because they just, on average, the Black and Latino were diagnosed later than their peers with a delay of 1.4 and 2.45 years, respectively.
And
that's quite a bit of time.
That's quite a bit of time.
2.5 years is quite a bit of time.
It's quite a bit of time, but I think if they delved in further, they would see that there's also a lag for children who are Asian.
Yes.
And for children who are Armenian and, Middle Eastern descent.
Right.
Because there are stigmas in it that, the parents aren't going to show up and ask questions like, why doesn't my child do this?
And then sometimes there's a language barrier in the Hispanic population.
So, I know that earlier this year, that the board that decides, prophylactic measures said it's not necessary,
right.
But I think we all need to write them a letter and go, guess again.
It is necessary.
It is absolutely necessary. It should be mandatory for all.
In 2007, the
American
Academy of Pediatrics recommended that doctors screen all toddlers for autism at their 18 to 24-month
And here we are 10 years later and still having to argue it. Who can we throw up on?
I know it.
Because that's what I feel like doing, is throwing up on somebody. Okay. Then our last story, I love this in The Guardian. A lovely article about 10 ways to help a parent of a child with autism.
And this was written by a special needs mom with 2 kids, one a daughter with Kabuki syndrome, and then a son that has autism, and another child that is, I guess, quote, neurotypical.
And I read through this, and we want to encourage you guys, go to The Guardian and look this up. But we're gonna go through it fairly quickly. And I thought, boy, when early on, this was something that really would have helped me. I wished I'd had this to send out in a Christmas card to friends and family to say, here's what we're going through, and here's what we, pick 2 on this list.
Just 2, yeah.
2 on this list that,
because not all of them are you going to be able to do.
Right. So the first one is to encourage a friend to seek out whatever support is offered through the school or through educational services. And it feels like a duh, but sometimes having a friend say, I know that there's services that are available. You need to go talk to
so-and-so about that.
Go talk to them. And it's okay to take, in the beginning, I thought, we don't want to have to take services from somebody.
Right.
That feels like, like we couldn't take care of ourselves. Well, guess what? You can't in the autism community. Nobody can do this by themselves. And when you have somebody else that you respect and admire go, you're not expected to do this by yourself. You go, oh, okay. Right?
Right, that's true.
Okay, you want to take the next one?
Number 2, support your friend to advocate for her child. Medical professionals and school staff often focus on what the child can't do. As a mother, I need to feel positive about my children. So having a friend that knows my child comes along to a difficult meeting to support me is invaluable. So a friend that supports you in advocating for your child.
And that you get to advocate for your child, and it's okay to advocate for your child. I think it's wonderful. Number 3 is to encourage them to get involved with a local parent support group. And I say either local or I think it's important to have a local support group. For me, it worked better for me I went to one meeting and met other parents. That wasn't good for me. But to have one online, and I did that through Taka. And there are all kinds of on Cafe Mom and on yahoo.com. There are all kinds of local support groups, but also to have one that's a little bit more global, because in my local one, I wasn't finding somebody who had a kid like mine.
Right.
When I went to a global one, I found people who had a kid like mine. In my local one, I found out where to go to get his hair cut, right? So definitely encourage them to do that.
Number 4, strangers' curiosity is often unwelcome. An inquisitive stare or ill-judged remark can be the last straw. Having you by her side to fend off unwanted interest or other calm explanations will make all the difference.
I think about when we went to, which amusement park was it? Knott's Berry
Farm.
And there was a moment when there were people in line to see Snoopy.
Yeah.
And we walked up, and Wyatt was so excited that he saw Snoopy that he just went right up and started talking to Snoopy.
Right.
And there were a group of women who were just, and you were having a moment like loving the fact that Wyatt was interacting, and there were a group of women who were about to lynch both of you.
Yeah.
And I went over and I was just like, just give it a minute. And then they realized that, they could wait a moment.
Right.
And that it was perfectly fine.
Right.
And I think it's that kind of a thing. Just having, and I know you would have done the same thing for me.
Right.
Having somebody's back when something's going on.
Yeah,
so
her child's special needs, and she's dealing with it as best she can.
Right. And don't lose your mind. You're going to get back to Snoopy in 35
your kid
seconds.
Will get Snoopy.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
But they were like, you cut the line.
I know.
Whatever.
Broken sleep is often a huge issue, so you can.
A good one.
If you know her child well enough, offer to stay in the house occasionally and be the one to get up. Well, that requires a real friend.
It really does. But I think, I had a friend who did this for me, who said when I got to the point where I was so sleep deprived, said, I'm going to come over and spend the night. And I know I've spent the night once at your house.
You've spent the night at my house. You've done it for me, but I'm saying it takes a real friend.
Well, but there are friends that are out there.
Like
Don't be afraid to, and to send this out in a Christmas card. Maybe somebody else would do it.
Maybe.
Okay. And then, from the coming and spending the night every once in a while, let's move on to number 6, which is occasional respite. That every once in a while giving a break. That I've had friends. I remember so distinctly, there was one of my friends who said, I said, I just need 2 hours. I need 2 hours to myself. And she said, I'm coming up to your house. You can do whatever you want. And I went scrapbooking. And we laugh about that now because she called another friend and said, if I'm ever in a position where I need 2 hours off and I say that I want to go scrapbooking, please shoot me. Right? And now she scrapbooks.
That was relaxing for you to go scrapbooking?
Yeah, it was all I needed more than anything else in the world. I needed to craft.
Okay.
Because I couldn't have done that for the longest time. And I needed to do something that felt normal.
Okay.
Now, for other people, that would be go get a manicure or something. But for me, I needed to craft and commemorate what we were going through.
Okay.
I couldn't write about it at that point. Later on I wrote, but I needed to scrapbook. And I have those scrapbooks.
You do?
I do. I should bring them in sometime for you to see. They're kind of amazing. But anyway.
And also to encourage them to get respite care. There are services that are available.
Yes. Amen to that, right? And then, number 7 is all about stimming and how it can be perceived and kind of being a buffer. So that if the child is stimming and behaving in a certain way, that you don't look at it and think that it's weird, and that you're a buffer for other people.
I have issues with this. It's often embarrassing for parents, and anywhere there's a fountain or water, he'll go over and he'll splash in it. Yeah. And that can be embarrassing for me.
And to have a friend there who kind of normalizes it and say, you're okay, he's okay.
Right.
And tell those people to step back and get over themselves as if you've never seen somebody flap or splash.
Right.
Oh, people are so intolerant. Okay, number 8, be on hand to help out at family functions.
Yes.
And, so that if it's Thanksgiving, that the person is not swimming upstream
That
by
they've got things
themselves.
to do. That maybe there's a goodie bag with
Yes.
distractions, spinners, balloons, stretchy toys.
Or just take a moment and distract the kid with whatever.
Exactly.
Talk to the kid. Give them that moment. Oh, I love number 9, because honestly, this is the thing that a lot of times you ask an autism parent, and I relate to these because, you've been going through this too.
Yes, I have.
With grief.
Right.
And so you ask somebody, come on, you want to do this? And there's a time when they say no. And then you keep asking, and there comes a point when you stop asking, right?
That's right.
But you can't. You have to keep
You have to keep at it, because let me vouch for this one. Because I've said no to a lot of friends about things, because I say I can't leave Wyatt alone.
Yeah.
And I'm not ready yet to go out to things. It seems like sometimes those invitations then start to dry up, and you don't want them to.
And it can't be. So you got to be the good friend and keep asking and inviting. And then the last one, which I think is super important, is discourage your friend from trying to plan too far ahead. This can go both ways. I have a friend who says, don't try to figure out where you're going to hang the mink coat.
Right.
Right? You don't know if that's happening. You don't know what's happening. So let's just be sufficient onto the day, right?
Yes.
Let's be in this moment. What's happening right now? And let's take care of what needs to happen right now and be in this moment. And I know, especially when the kids get older, you got to do a little bit of planning ahead, but you don't really know what's going to come.
No, you
so
don't.
you be in this moment and do what you got to do right now, and not
Because being in the future, too much in the future, too much in the past gives us anxiety.
Well, and let's think about it too, that, joy only happens in this moment.
Right.
And that when you get thinking about the future, sometimes if you have a child who has special needs, you can start catastrophizing.
Yeah.
And it stacks and it goes, well, this is going to happen, and then
you
I'm going to
don't know.
die.
Right.
And what's going to happen? And we can paralyze ourselves.
Yes, we can.
And we need to be careful not to do that. And to be a good friend, you need to be watching and going, don't do that.
Right. Deal with it one day at a time. Have an eye to the future, but deal with it one day at a time and be present. Right.
I think it's a great, great article. If you want to, it's in The Guardian right now. Print it out and put it in your Christmas card and send it out to your friends and say, hey, pick one of these. Pick 2 of these.
Exactly.
Now, before we go to break, you've got an event that's coming up.
We have an event coming up called Boots on the Beach. It's at the Newport Dunes, which is a waterfront resort and marina, which is down in Newport Beach. Sometimes you might have seen
the poster is beautiful.
Yeah, isn't it beautiful? It's got the Stephen Wesley Band, and it's got line dance lessons. And
this is New Year's Eve.
This is New Year's Eve, and it's a family-friendly event. Okay, you can find out more by going on our website, but it's featuring a DJ and host from Go Country Radio. And it sounds like a fun time.
It does sound like a fun time. I have to say that here in Los Angeles, we don't really have, there are a lot of other cities in the United States that have a first evening, which is a family fun, not centered on drinking, all throughout the city. I mean, I've been in small cities that have had this. I don't know why we don't have that in Los Angeles, but this reminds me of a first
this is
evening.
family friendly. Boots on the Beach. You can go to act-a-day.org to find out more about it.
And it benefits
ACT. Right, it benefits ACT Today. Part of the proceeds do, not the whole thing, but we
for
get
autism care and treatment
we get a portion of the proceeds. You can go and learn a little line dancing. The doors open at 6:30.
Okay.
So that's good to know.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can get there early.
Are you a big New Year's Eve?
No, I am not.
I like to stay home.
I do too.
I like to stay home, and because I'm an ex-New Yorker, I like to watch the ball drop in New York.
I like to do it on the East Coast feed.
Yeah. And we celebrate that so that at 9 o'clock, a lot of times my husband has to be at work at 7 o'clock in the morning on New Year's Day. So we celebrate that, and sometimes he goes to bed. So that's how I like to do New Year's Eve, in my fuzzy jammies.
Yeah, me too. I went to a party last year that was all couples, and it was hard for me. It was my first New Year's without my husband. And went to a party, and of course it was all couples. And it just felt, and everybody, and I also wasn't drinking alcohol, and everybody there was imbibing way too much. So I felt like a stranger in a strange world the whole night. Couldn't wait to get home.
Wow.
So this
but I'm
year,
glad you went.
Well,
Look at
I
you,
forced
warrior
myself
woman.
to go out.
That's important.
Right.
We need to keep forcing you to go out. All right. Having said that, we're going to take a break, and then we think that our guest, Milena Ramasa, is going to be here to talk with us about Convade and R82. They've got a new car seat that's out that's called the Wallaroo. I love that name.
Yeah, it's a great name. Very Aussie.
Very Aussie. And so she's going to talk about why this particular car seat is so fabulous and so safe. You know, we love Convade. They make the best special needs car seats.
They do.
And you saw us a couple of months ago talk about their, it's not a car seat, it's a portable seat.
Portable seat.
That's called the Scallop. And that has something to do with the Wallaroo. So, Samantha, why don't we go ahead and show them the video of, which one do you want to do? Do you want to do the Scallop or the Wallaroo? Let's do the Wallaroo.
Okay.
Let's rip the cord on that. Take a look, the Wallaroo. Hi, I'm Shannon Penrod, and this is my husband.
Hello.
I was going to let you say your name.
Oh, I'm Jim Miller.
And we are here at the Miracle Mile Toy Store. This is an amazing toy store right in the center of Los Angeles, and we're going to take a little tour around and look at all the fabulous toys. This toy store is an Astra toy store, and one of the things that you want to look for is that Astra label. That tells you that these are amazing toys, one-of-a-kind toys. You know how when you have that friend who's got the really fabulous toys and you wonder where did they get them? Chances are it was from an Astra toy store. And we're going to show you some cool toys, but in particular some of our award winners from this year's Toy Guide are in the store. So you ready? So we're here at some of the cool toys. You can see I've already lost my husband. Whispering to the puppy. But just some of the award-winning toys this year. I want to start with one of my faves. We had this last year, and it was sort of like an honorable mention last year, and then we played with this so much this year that it had to be one of our top toys. This is Happy Salmon. And it's a card game, but it's for all different kinds of ages and ability, and there's even a portion of the game that you play non-verbally. So awesome, awesome Happy Salmon. You'll find yourself going, Happy Salmon, Happy Salmon. With the there we go. Happy Salmon. You'll understand when you play this. It's mayhem in your house. Also, these are all the Lux blocks that they have left in the toy right now. This is one of our top toys of the year. We love Lux blocks. They've got new colors, and this is all that's left in this toy store because they have sold out. So you need to get the Lux blocks. These are amazing. They're snap together toys that you can make all kinds of things. You know, honey, you've seen us making all kinds of helicopters and things with these. And it works on all the major skills that your kid wants to work on that help with handwriting skills of push, pull, turn. Totally fabulous. I've also got a marble run here.
Marble runs are great.
Aren't they?
Yeah.
Do you remember when Jem used to play with
absolutely.
marble? Because one of the things about this is that
When I would let him.
Right, because we were playing with it. And you can put it together different ways. So there's all different things you can work on, but it has a beginning, a middle, and an end to it. And once you put the marble in and it goes down, it's like, what, 2 minutes? So that when you're working on something with a kid, you can say, okay, get this right, and then we're going to do the marble run. They put it down the marble run, and then you go, okay, let's go back to work so we can have something else to work for later on. Marble runs are great. This one is a fabulous one, but they're all different kinds out there, and the one that actually won the award this year from Autism Live is from Fat Brain Toys, and it's a bamboo.
That's amazing.
Bamboo marble run. Oh, it's so yummy, I can't stand it. All right, what else do we have here? Oh, this is one of our new top toys this year. This is a Hypno Gizmo. We love sensory toys that kids can play with, and it makes all different shapes and noises. You can see there's these fishing lines where the beads roll. Well, the one that won the top toy is a version of this that's for slightly older kids where they get to design where the beads go.
Oh my gosh.
And where the different strings go. Hypno Gizmo. So for a younger kid, get the one that's already made, and it's got the twirlies on the side. Listen, I came in here and we were talking about how to set up the chute, and I was standing here playing with it, and they had to snap me out of it.
It says mesmerizing on the box, and it really is.
But for older kids, get the one where they make it themselves. It's super duper fabulous. I just want to say too, when you go to a toy store, you'll see that there's all kinds of things to play with and indulge yourself. One of the things that I noticed when I got here, these are a great toy, Geometrics. They snap together with little magnets, but the magnets are encased in the plastic. You can make all kinds of things with them. Addictive. Geomatrix. Okay, let's check out some of the other rooms, okay? Okay, baby, do you know what this is?
What's it called?
It's a teeter popper.
Teeter popper.
Because it's got these amazing poppers on the bottom. Now, this is one of our award winners for the year. And I want to point out, though, that this is a dirty teeter popper. And there's a reason for that, because this is the demo at the store. This is how well loved this is. You can see that this has been played with. That's how you know the sign of a cool toy, because kids actually play with it. So what this does, the kid sits and teeters in it, and the suction cups stop them from getting too far or knocking them over, and then they have to kind of push to get it to unsuck.
Makes a fun noise too.
It does make a fun noise. So it's really cool. It's a really safe toy, and it's great for building those core muscles and for helping a kid to feel that inner core and grab a hold of it. This is a great OT toy. Kids won't know that they're working on therapy. They just think it's fun. It's super cool. Teeter popper, Fat Brain, get one. One of our favorite new toys this year is the My Little House, or as I call it, Mi Casa Pequeña. Absolutely love this toy. If you watch our show, you've seen us talk about this amazing toy that was made by a speech and language pathologist. Kids play with it, big kids play with it, adults play with it. You can't help yourself because it's the best of felt toys. It's a house and it can go together 1,000 different ways. maybe not 1,000, don't quote me, but a bunch of different ways. And it's got all these lovely pieces to the house. It's like having a dollhouse.
36 pieces, yeah.
36 pieces. Each room is color-coded so that it can help a child be able to match. It's really incredible. We absolutely love My Little House. If you have somebody who is a language learner, that they're developing language, boy, this is the toy of the year.
Yep.
Hello, Mr. Turtle.
Hello?
I was wondering if you would like to play with the trains and cars.
Oh, I love playing trains. Yes.
So we're going to just have a good time here and continue playing, and we want to encourage you to go to the Astra toy store near you. And if you're in the Los Angeles area, come to Miracle Mile Toys. It's at miraclemiletoys.com. Happy holidays, everybody.
Happy holidays.
Well,
we're back.
That was the video with my husband and I.
Right. Jim is so cute, I swear.
He is so cute. And somebody had said recently on the show, they were like, do you, why do you never have your husband on the show? And I was like, what are you talking about? I've had him on the show many times before.
He's done a lot of things
and
for you.
He has. And he's, we've done the thing where we've
employed
interviewed
his services too on many
we
different
have,
things.
We have. And, it's funny that several years ago, we were asked, both of us, to have our husbands on the show. And Reed came and did a stellar interview. And then shortly afterward, Jim came and was on the show. And honestly, sometime when you're ready, you should go back and watch that interview with Reed. Yes. And I have sitting on my desk for when you're ready, the Facing Fatherhood. Have you ever seen that?
I never saw the whole program.
Well, it'll
get out the tissue boxes.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Yeah. Well, because Reed talks about you and how his thing that he would say to you is don't ever die.
Right.
Because I don't think I can do this without you.
Right.
And here you are having to do it without him. Which sucks.
It sure does.
It just sucks. But in any case.
But such is life.
But again, that was one of the things we were just talking about, is that everybody doesn't draw the same hand.
No.
And
we get dealt different hands, and we have to play the hand that's dealt us.
Yes. Yes. And it seems like, in some ways and sometimes it just seems like there is not well, it isn't fair. There are things that happen, but I'm
finding as Wyatt gets older, it's tougher for me, because a lot of the things are the things that I wanted a man to be teaching him.
Yes.
And dealing with him on.
Yes.
Learning about shading, learning about, different things that affect him as he's older.
Yeah.
Changes in his body, changes in the way he feels about things. And I don't have that male figure to help me.
Absolutely. But I would say to you, too, that you have a community of male figures around you. The irony for me is that a lot of things that you're talking about, I have a male figure in Jem's life to teach those, but I'm the one who teaches them anyway.
Really?
Yeah. Not that Jim can't, but that I tend to jump the gun and talk about it anyway. And I think I'm a lot more open about a lot of things where... my husband is fabulous, but he doesn't run into a conversation about squeamish things. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He keeps his cards much closer to his chest. Whereas I'm like, let's talk about poo, you know?
The thing is that time goes by so quick, and you don't realize it, and suddenly I look up and Wyatt's 16.
Yeah. And he's a man.
And I know, and that's freaking me out a little bit.
Well, and I think that's normal.
Yeah.
I'm
no matter
freaked
what the
out.
Circumstance.
Yeah, I do. I'm freaked out about the fact that Jem is getting older, and we're getting older at the same time.
That's right.
And it's all freak outable about.
I know. If that's something you can't go too far in the future on either. You got to be really present.
And I think that part of it too, if I could say this, Nancy, is that I have you and I can talk to you about that, but I also have Jim to talk about. And what you're really missing is the other half to talk about.
Absolutely.
I mean, I think that's really...
And that other half to depend upon when I feel like I don't have the answers and don't know how to do it.
Yes, to tag team and go, I'm out, I'm out today. It's all about you.
Yep.
Right? And that's a lucky, lucky thing to have.
It is.
And I count myself really lucky that I have it. We know the vast majority of our autism moms don't have it.
Mm-hmm.
You had it.
I did have it for a long time.
And so you knew what it was to have it. Although Reed was sick for a lot
He
of the
was,
time.
yeah.
And that you were having to shoulder a lot as well. But
Right.
you have the double-edged
But
sort
he was still there.
Yep, he
and
was.
especially for Wyatt.
And he was a good dad.
He was a good
And he was a
dad.
good husband. Much lost. And I imagine that people that are watching that have lost as well, lost people along the way, whether it's because somebody passed away or because
Or
they
divorce.
just said, peace out, I'm out.
Right.
Right? We know a lot of people that
We sure
happened where
do.
people said, I'm
They
not up to
couldn't handle
this
it.
challenge.
This is not what I signed up for.
Right. Which I don't, for those of us who stuck around, it's hard to understand.
It really is.
No judgments, but it's hard to understand.
Yeah.
Because for you and for me, that was never an option.
No.
This was our kid. And
Yeah.
so we were going to do whatever. But in any case, we said we were going to come back. We're still, our guest is stuck in traffic and we're going to stay
Right.
long. We can't stop playing with the thing. But I wanted to reiterate for those of you who are in the Los Angeles area this weekend, we are doing our Sensitive Santa event. Speaking of my husband
Yeah,
gets pressed
speaking
into
of your
service.
husband, he's going to be called
We
out.
won't. Yes, he'll be there. I'll be there.
We won't tell you where he'll be.
I bet you could guess who
Yeah.
he'll be at the Sensitive Santa event.
Yeah.
But
Santa will be there.
Yes, Santa will be there, and Mrs. Claus will be
And
there
will
as
there
well.
be elves there?
There will be elves there.
Okay.
There will be many an elf there. And then there will be lots of kids who are on the autism spectrum.
Okay.
You can register right now. The tickets are free. It is being held at the We Rock the Spectrum in Tarzana.
And what time does it start?
It starts at 9 o'clock in the morning, but what you do is you register for an hour. So you could register for the 9 to 10 hour, you could register for the 10 to 11, you could register for the 11 to 12, then we take a half-hour lunch, and then, so it's 12:30 to 1:30, 1:30 to 2:30, 2:30 to 3:30, and then we're done at 3:30. Each hour, you want to come and plan on being there for the full hour. What's really cool about this Sensitive Santa event is that nobody waits in line.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of waiting in line as you get in because you need to register for the hour, and then they ferry all the kids from the first hour out, and they open up the gate and they let the new kids in for the hour, and they get to run around and scream and yell and jump and play on the ball
Play
pit
on the machines.
and
the
all the equipment. And they
Not
do the zip line into the crash pit.
Right.
And there's just so many things to do, and it's so much fun. And while they're doing that, we kind of have elves that sneak over and find each individual child and very quietly scurry them away to go have their private visit with Santa. And when they go into the Santa room, the lights are a little bit dimmed, but there's, it's a pretty scene, and Santa and Mrs. Claus and some elves are there, and a photographer is there. But what I love about this, again, it's all free. You can stand there and take as many pictures as you want to with your phone. You can videotape the entire thing. Usually we have a photographer there who takes a professional photo for you that you can get from him later on. There's no charge for
Are you doing that this year?
I believe so. I think that's what's happening. But you get to take your own instantaneous pictures, and nobody's going to stand there and say, oh, you only get 2 minutes.
Right.
And the child gets to spend some time talking to Santa. Before there's a picture, there's no rushing anybody. It's all individual. Sometimes the kids can't handle the room, and Santa goes out of the room with them. We had this happen once 2 years ago where Santa had to go in the parking lot with a young man, but we got that picture. And Mom got that picture. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's important. So in any case, and then what I think is one of the highlights of the entire event is as if all of that isn't enough, because at that point, the moms and dads are all crying, right? They got the picture. But then the kiddos get a wrapped toy, one of the toys that's featured in our toy guide. So they're good toys, you guys. And they're toys that are especially meant, and we have toys this year for babies too, because in the past, by the way, you can, the kiddo on the spectrum gets to come, and all of their siblings. And in the past, we've kind of struggled with, do we have baby toys? And this year I paid particular attention to that. We have baby toys this year. So if you got the baby, bring the baby, because there's some good stuff for the baby as well. And we have stuff for adults as well. So all free, and it's all brought to you by Autism-Live. We Rock the Spectrum. We have CARD therapists that are there to hang out with the kids. So CARD helps to support it. And of course, Autism Care and Treatment Today is involved involved in it
Yes.
and very helpful. So we hope that if you're in the Los Angeles, I still have tickets. We've never ever gotten to a Wednesday and still had tickets.
Really?
Well, we opened up more tickets, so I don't know if it's that or people didn't get the memo because it was Thanksgiving weekend, but we still have tickets. So if you want to register right now,
But you have to have tickets.
you have to have tickets. We can't take anybody if you don't have a registration. And if there is an hour that is completely full, there is now a waiting list that you can fill out and put your name on the waiting list. But don't put your name on a list for an hour and your name on a waiting list for another hour, because that prevents somebody else from getting in. We're hoping that we'll be able to accommodate as many people on the waiting list as possible. And if you decide to cancel your tickets or you can't come even day of, please go on. This is all on Eventbrite. Go on Eventbrite and look for Autism-Live Sensitive Santa. But if you're going to cancel, please let us know, because that lets somebody else in. And that's important.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's on Saturday, not to be missed. It's really my favorite thing of the whole year. It's where it all comes to fruition for me, and we get to give back. I'm going to cry a little bit, but there was one year in particular, and I've talked about it before on the show, when things were so bad.
Right.
And
things are so bad where, Shannon?
At home, at our home. And financially, things were so bad. I think Jem had just started therapy, so we weren't in the place yet where we were seeing the big bang from the therapy. But there were medicines that he was taking on a regular basis that we thought were helping to improve what was happening. And I sat down, it was like right about this time of year. And it was after Thanksgiving, and I sat down to look at what money there was.
Right.
And I realized that there was not enough money for a Christmas dinner, a toy for our child, and his medicine. I couldn't do all three.
Right.
I just couldn't do it. And I sat there and was just paralyzed with fear. You know, it just felt like I was being scorched.
Right.
And I didn't know what to do. And I called my good friend Therese and I said, I don't know what to do. Like, what do I do? Because in my heart, I was like, well, we just won't get him a toy. And he's 3, so maybe he won't notice. And it just made me feel horrible.
Yes.
Right? And then I thought, well, we don't have to have a big Christmas dinner. We can just eat, eggs or something, right? And then I was like, well, and that felt bad too, but that's the one I was arriving at, was we'll just have scrambled eggs for Christmas dinner, because I wasn't gonna not do his medicine.
Right.
But it felt like I had failed.
I know that feeling.
Right? Like I had really screwed this all up, because if I was a good and decent, smart
You'd have
person,
it all arranged.
I would have made sure that there was money for a dinner and a toy and medicine, right? And so I called my friend Therese and I said, I don't know what to do, and because I had been about to order the medicine,
right?
And she said, order the medicine, it'll all be okay. I promise you, it'll all be okay. And I said, how can it be? It's never going to be okay ever again, is what I said to her. And she said, I promise you, take care of what you have to take care of and it'll all be okay. And so I did. I ordered the medicine and I put the phone down, and my phone immediately rang. And it was a woman that I've only talked to once before and once since, but she's a friend of a cousin. And we had done a fundraiser years before for Jem, where we took over a restaurant one night and people came and performed, and we did a fundraiser to raise money to do the biomedical stuff.
Treatment.
Yeah, and she had been invited by my cousin and was there at this event. So she called me out of the blue and she said, Shannon, I don't know if you remember me, but this is my name and I'm a friend of your cousin, and every year for Christmas I get him a gift of giving to a charity. And she said, I was just about to write a check for Habitat for Humanity, and I thought, oh, I'll bet it would be so much more meaningful if I paid for some of Jem's medicine.
Wow. So talk about answered prayers, right?
And she said, can I send you a check?
Wow. And
I said to her, I want to grow up to be you, right? And, I am not somebody and you do that. You make it possible for people with autism care and treatment today you make it possible for those miracles to happen. But I decided a long time ago that I wanted to do something where kids got a toy. So at least I know there's one wrapped toy, and if parents don't have another place to go, that they can get a wrapped toy.
You've done it.
Well, we do what we can, right? I mean, that's what we do. But it's my favorite day of the year. I got to get a tissue.
Okay.
But it's my favorite day of the year because we get to do that.
And you made it happen.
Well,
You've made it happen for years.
we get a lot of help for doing it. But I thank the toy manufacturers because I think that sometimes the parents go, well, it would be important if we could get the picture with Santa. But it's hard to go out.
Yeah, it is.
And you don't believe that you can get the picture with, I'm telling you, we can get the picture with Santa.
Wyatt used to be afraid of Santas.
Yeah. Yeah, and I didn't bother to go.
Yeah.
I mean, I just didn't bother to go because
who's
going to stand in line all that time just to have your child looked at like he's a pariah?
Exactly.
Right? So, but I think sometimes the knowing that they're going to get the toy makes the parent come.
Right.
Because they're like...
So it's a great thing. So we encourage everybody to come this weekend.
So I've got to go mop down now that I've just cried all over the place. We're going to take a break. We know that we've gone over. We're still waiting for our guests to arrive. It's just how we're doing it today.
Yeah,
and she's driven a long way, so we're not giving up on her. We're going to check in and see how far away she is, and we'll come back and talk about something else. So stick with us.
What is autism?
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 I've been asking myself that for a very, very long time.
Let me think about that one.
Trying to,
Jeez, let me think. Oh man, that's a rough one. Yes.
Autism is a neurological disorder that affects many of our kids in different ways.
It's a learning disability that affects the cognitive functions of the brain.
a lot of people have the misconception that it's a disability, and it's really not.
I look at it as like a special gift.
When one person thinks differently from another.
It's an opportunity for everyone to learn to understand someone that's a little different than them.
Autism is the ability to educate.
They're given so much talent in different areas.
To me, autism means a chance to be with and be around people you really care about. Autism is beautiful.
It's a way of seeing the world differently.
It's always unique, totally intelligent, and sometimes mysterious.
Happiness that comes out of my son's hard work.
It's a movement.
Unpredictable.
That's right.
Awesome. Love.
The field I want to work in.
Laughter, fun, joy. Autism is beautiful to me.
I want you to remember these 3 words. There is hope.
Potty training is different for every child. A child could come in with absolutely, no control over their bladder, and as long as that's not a medical issue, then we can certainly approach it behaviorally and give them the tools they need to be successful, just like any other skill that we would teach.
Well, we think he's learning to pee on the potty. No big successes yet, and lots of accidents. Here is the laundry from today.
For some of our kids takes, just a couple days. And then for other kids, it can take months and months and months. And then when you're looking at complete independence, it can take years.
Hey, you have to go pee-pee?
There's a lot of different ways to tell if a child is ready. We look for a couple different things. Probably the most important is parents saying, I need this to happen, I'm ready. Second is, a child showing interest in the bathroom. And some of it is simply age. It's time to go ahead and work on this.
What are you doing? Pooping. You're pooping?
You first start with teaching the child what they need to do on the toilet. The basic thing we want is for them to drink as much liquid as possible. It's inevitable that if you drink a bunch of liquid, you're gonna pee.
Help.
No, I can't help you pee. I can hold your hand, but I can't help you pee.
Ultimately, what we want is that, the child, as soon as they're put on the toilet, they urinate. So that's step 1. Step 2 is usually working through the amount of time that they're off of the toilet and making sure that they're not having accidents during the time that they're off. So this is kind of the bladder control stage of things.
So the purpose of the potty log is just to see how long it takes them as soon as they sit on the potty for them to actually urinate, and the amount of time that he's able to hold his urine. And with the log, we're able to visually see how long it takes them each time, and if they have accidents or not. He's on a half-hour potty schedule, so if he doesn't go when we take him, then we have to take him in 10 more minutes. So every 10-minute intervals until he does go, and then we reset the clock, and it's 30 minutes again.
Okay, buddy. Okay, last chance to go pee-pees. Do we reset it for 10?
Oh, what does that mean? What does that mean, Jack? It's potty time. We can come play after. Hurry.
What we hope happens in this time is that the kids will learn how to initiate going to the bathroom on their own. This is oftentimes the hardest part of potty training, is because they get so used to somebody telling them when they need to go that they're not really recognizing the signs just in their own body of when they need to go.
Oh, he wet himself.
Uh-oh. Big wet?
Was it a lot? We can reset to half an hour now.
The biggest thing for parents is not to give up. The other big tip, and I think pitfall that a lot of parents fall into, is putting their children back into pull-ups or diapers, especially if they're starting to have accidents. And this is probably the worst thing that you can do. They need to recognize that feeling of fullness in their bladder and take themselves to the bathroom, or tell an adult that they need to go to the bathroom.
What do you have to do? You have to put your pee-pee in the potty. Okay, give it a shot. See if you can put it in there. There you go. You're doing it. Yay, Jack.
Big prayer for your pee-pee.
Big prayer for your pee-pee. Woo! Yay! Good job. What a big boy. High five, high five, high five, high five, high five, high five, high five.
Adults don't really believe kids. They'll think, oh, kids are kids, what are they talking about? But when a child stands up for what they believe in, it's so strong and powerful. first got involved with autism advocacy 4 years ago when my friend was diagnosed. When I found out about my friend's diagnosis, I didn't really understand what it meant. But it didn't matter to me or change our friendship. I didn't look at her any differently. We still had so much fun together. Now I know that she experiences life a little differently than me, and that's okay. Knowing what she goes through has helped me to understand and be more caring towards other people in similar situations. I got involved with ACT Today because I wanted to do whatever I could to help. They provide options like behavioral therapy, medical care, social skills programs, assistance to military families, and much more. Being there for my friend was my #1 priority. I've been volunteering and spreading the word about the cause via my social media platform because raising awareness is a crucial first step. There needs to be more kids and teens involved to make sure that our voices are heard just as loudly as the adults. You may be small like me, but your acts of kindness are not.
We're back as promised, right?
Yes, and you've been waiting. Our guest arrived, and we're so glad that we got you here and that you're here safe. And look what she brought with her. We've got a studio full of seats.
Yes, from Convade and R82, where Melina Ramasa, our guest, is marketing communications manager. And you brought in a new car seat that we're very excited about.
I did. It's the R82 Wallaroo. It was just launched last month. We've been long waiting for this, and it's a phenomenal car seat. It's a part of our portfolio, our growing portfolio, I might add. It complements the Carrot 3 car seat and the Carrot 3 booster seat. It's a really robust chair. It's very comfy. It's particularly cozy to those needing a little extra love and care, a little more cushioning, such as the kids living within the autism spectrum. And it's a super safe car seat. And we have another one coming out probably at the beginning of the year, but it doesn't have a name yet. But we're very proud of the Wallaroo, and we're really excited that we're headed towards being a global leader in this whole car seat space for kids living with special needs.
Well, we love Convade and R82.
You played Santa to one of our ACT Today families not too long ago when you donated a car seat to a mom who was having a carrot,
which
and
was
that was life-changing for them.
Absolutely. That mom who wasn't able to go anywhere because her son could
get out of his car seat,
and it was just too flimsy, and she had looked and found the carrot and said, this is what I need, and you guys gave it to her. So we love what you make, but we also love your generosity.
We do.
So I'm thrilled to have you. We had you on to talk about this little guy before. This is the scallop, and we showed the commercial for it.
Talk about
talk a little bit about that and what it has to do with the Wallaroo.
Oh, well, they're unrelated products except for the fact that they're both seating products. This is a transportation product. That's for children with mild to moderate involvement. What's happening now is, yes, we're giving this Wallaroo away, but we have a special. Our Cyber Monday is lasting through the end of the year. So when anyone buys a Wallaroo now, they get a free scallop. So
how long is that?
Through December 31st.
Okay.
Yeah. So basically, that's a special that we have running, and also we have another special running, which is the scallop. You buy one, you get one for 50%. So kind of in the spirit of giving. You buy one, you can always gift one to someone in your circle of friends and family, and that's what we're doing for the holiday season.
Absolutely love it. For anybody who's got a child that has any different needs, and really it is that broad of a situation, because it could be that your child has autism, because for kids with autism, they've got all these sensory different issues, and sometimes getting them safe in a car is the thing that keeps you up at night.
Very
right,
tough. Wyatt used to wiggle out of his car seat all the time, and we have families that write us at ACT Today that they have these issues, with keeping their children safe, keeping them constrained to the degree that is safe and natural, and this certainly meets that need.
I once got a traffic ticket because I was going through an intersection and Jem had taken off his shoes and thrown them at me because he was having a bit of a meltdown.
Right.
And then for the first time ever, he got himself out of the car seat, and I was supposed to turn, and I did not have an arrow to turn.
Right.
And I was so freaked out about what was happening that I wanted to get us off the road. So I turned and pulled over before I even noticed that a policeman was behind me with lights going.
Right.
And he pulled over and he said, lights license and registration, and I just burst into tears. And I tried to tell him, my son is, got out of his car seat, and he, he didn't want to hear about it. I'd done something unsafe, and I got the traffic ticket because my child wasn't properly secured. And I had, I had the car seats that people, you go to places and get whatever that aren't what we need for our kids.
No, because they don't keep them safe. They don't keep them protected.
Plus, which our kids need a seat for longer.
Right.
They just do.
They do.
And
when they're older.
For everybody's, and when they're older and they're bigger and whatever,
how
this
long
is
does
a
this
substantial
accommodate?
seat.
How old can a child be and how large can a child be?
It accommodates a lot of growth. I mean, it's you can see that it looks like an oversized car seat, which it is, the child restraint system. And it'll accommodate children. It'll go from very, very young toddlers all the way up to a child that's well into almost to their youth.
Okay.
Wow.
For the larger children, we still have the Convade 3 booster seat, which will accommodate even adult-sized children.
Okay.
Or adult-sized people for that matter, and up to, I think the Carrot is up to 165 pounds.
Okay.
This, I think, is up to about 120.
That's
like that.
That's good.
Yeah. So there's quite a bit of capacity in the entire car seat line.
Right.
What the moms that are starting to use the Wallaroo are telling me, especially the moms with children within the spectrum, is that they can't wiggle out of them. I mean, they're comfortable enough, they have enough padding, and they're comfortable enough in the size that the kids actually enjoy it. It kind of soothes them, it calms them, and it makes them feel protected without being overly confining.
Right.
So, we're having some really good initial response.
Good.
I also love with all of your seats that the length of them is substantially longer in terms of the legs, and the padding is different, because one of the things that I know from our family, we grow really long-legged people in my family, and for the kiddos, what happens is that their feet go to sleep when they have to hang over too far, and then when you've got a child on the autism spectrum, their feet go to sleep, and that's a very unpleasant sensory feeling, and then you start getting a tantrum and you don't even know what happened that caused the tantrum. But I love your seats because that doesn't happen. So truly amazing. When you came in with this thing, this is a substantial seat. Kind of when you look at it, it just looks like, okay, this is a good sized car seat. But let me just say to you guys, this is an amazing, this is like, the Cadillac of
car seats.
Yeah.
It is a Cadillac. It's forward facing. It's very comfortable. I mean, I'm a little big to sit in them, but I've had my coworkers who are a little more, let's say, demure, try to sit in them. It's a very comfortable seat to sit in.
And for a big seat, there is a way that you can recline this seat. There's a wedge that you can put under it so that it's not sliding. I just think it's a really amazing thing, and I love that it's called a Wallaroo.
Tell us how people can get it.
Well, we have an 800 number, section 844 number. 844 U.S. Mobility is the number that anyone can call to order.
844 U.S. Mobility.
Yes, ma'am.
And it comes in 3 colors.
Yes, it comes in a gray, and it comes in a blue, and it comes in this Christmas red to match your outfits.
We didn't plan this.
Know that we were all matched.
I could have brought a gray one or a blue one, but I just thought, holidays, red,
absolutely,
bring the red one.
And then, of course, there's the scallop, which we love these too. This is a very clever thing, and so
you saw
portable.
The video that we ran.
Yes, and we've had the designer, the original designer on the show before. I love that you can just fold it up and carry it.
Like a
go off to the beach.
You can use it as a tote.
But when you've got a little one who's having trouble with the fidgets or a little bit of core,
they need some more
stuff,
support.
They need support to be able to sit and focus. So often people write into us and say, how do I get my kid to pay attention during circle time?
Yeah.
And of course we talk about building up to it, but part of it too is that for some of our kids, sitting the crisscross applesauce that the teacher always says is hard for them.
Right.
Because they feel wobbly and they feel unsafe, and then they're interested in this and whatever.
This gives them a nice cocooning effect.
It's almost like the Temple Grandin cow squisher thing that it hugs them. So they get that sensory input. It prevents them from wobbling all over the place. It feels really nice. Plus they have the support.
Right.
That if they lean back, it's, a lot of those kids, when it's circle time, they want to go sit in somebody's lap. If mom or dad is sitting there, they can sit and listen. Well, this is that, but with the freedom of it, of being able to go and do circle time or switch when they move to different circles. and take their own little seat with them. It's that autonomy that we want for our kids all the time. What a fabulous thing. And so if you get a Wallaroo right now, between now and the end of the year, you get a scallop that comes with it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, that's such a great deal.
Right.
I'm going to break some amazing news
Okay,
here first
right now.
on
Okay,
Autism
tell
Live
us, tell us.
regarding the scallop.
Okay.
This scallop was selected out of hundreds and hundreds, if not thousands of entrants to the Smithsonian Cooper Hewlett Abilities exhibition that starts now on December 15th. Our little scallop is on the front page of that particular exhibit.
Oh wow!
Wow!
Yeah,
what an honor!
It's really an honor. So so we're really excited. It'll be in the museum starting the 15th of December. And what we've worked out is that we're going to have a number of scallops there so that so anyone who needs a little extra support, children or adults within a certain weight range, of course, will be able to use our scallop while viewing the exhibit or watching different audio video presentations.
That's great, Melina.
Well, and I just, I think I might have said this the last time you were on the show, but I think you got to start making these adult size.
I know, I want one.
I want one. When, and people go to concerts, here we go to the Hollywood Bowl, and, people bring their little seats to sit on, but it doesn't give you any back support whatsoever. And now, because my son is on a robotics team, he has all these competitions where I'm sitting on all these bleachers, and I want one.
Kira, if you're listening,
we
need a scallop 5.
Exactly.
For adults, right.
We need for my size rear end, so that might be a scallop 6 or 7.
5.5.
Not you.
We'll have it built to me, and then I'm sure that we'll all be fine.
I'll go on a diet to fit. But in any case, these are amazing. And scallops, where can they get them?
Also, the 844 U.S. Mobility, it's the number that's always been for our customer service, and they can certainly buy it there.
And whatever car seat need you might have, you got to start with looking at Convade and R82. I mean, honestly, it's going to be well worth your time to take a look, because these are things that last.
Yeah, these are products that are quality.
And when we're talking about the safety for our kids, you need to get the right thing, and this is where you need to start. Yes, feel secure knowing that you're driving and that you're safe and that your kid is safe and that they're not going to get out of the, I mean, it's insane.
It's a nightmare.
Yes, to have to deal with that.
So many of us have lived through, and
Absolutely.
we don't want anybody out there to live through.
Absolutely. Anything else we left out?
No, I think you've pretty much got it. You just some other product features is that this liner is totally washable, removable.
Okay, that's great to have.
It keeps everything fresh and crisp. But sometimes there's accidents, and when there are, know that you just remove it, launder it, put it back. It's fine. It's not a problem. It comes with additional positioning, little wedges and things should you need them. And like I said, it comes in the different colors, the blue and the gray. So
it's
any
a
car.
Fabulous thing. So check this out.
Make a good Christmas present.
R82, yeah, absolutely. And then to be able to have the scallop as well, what a wonderful, wonderful thing.